We are in Dubai in Arabian Travel Market. Next to me I have the honor to have Mr. Amir Golbarg, who is the Senior Vice President for Middle East and Africa.
Pleasure to meet
for
you.
Minor Group Hotels.
Indeed.
Thank you for being with me, first of all.
The pleasure is mine, absolutely. Thank you.
Minor is a Thai company launched in Thailand many years ago.
Indeed, indeed.
When did you launch in Thailand?
Well, the story, maybe I'll bring it back to why it's called Minor and what it is launched with. So it was launched in 1967 in Thailand. Humble beginnings by a founder and chairman who is still very actively involved, Mr. William Heinecke. When he went to establish the company, he had moved to Thailand with his family. He was a minor. He was 17 years old. So he went to establish the company, and at the registrar they told him, well, you're underage, you're a minor. And that triggered the name Minor, which has led the journey all the way through to where we are today.
Great.
So truly an incredible journey. And as we now say, minor things matter, and minor is more. So I think we've put a twist to the word minor, and obviously now quite a major corporation, but started from very humble beginnings.
And Thailand is very famous about hospitality and services.
Indeed.
And you decided to bring this experience in the Middle East.
Absolutely.
When did you do that?
So in 2012, we started our first journey into the Middle East. We were given the task of putting a new destination on the map, which was an island called Sir Bani Yas Island, an absolutely incredible island that encompassed of nearly 16,000 animals. This was brought in by the late Sheikh Zayed, the founder of the UAE. Yeah. And this was his pride, possession and joy. So we started our journey there, amongst the wildlife, the sanctuary, and expanded that into 3 operating resorts in that island. So we have in Anantara, Al Sahil, Al Yam, and Desert Island. One represents beach, one is a resort, and the other one is the bush amongst the animals. Right. So a very unique journey, and still operating till today.
And now how many properties you have in Middle East?
So across the Middle East and Africa, where I look after, we have 54 operating properties. Yeah. Yes,
and what is new in the pipeline?
A lot of new things. Right. I mean, we've opened quite a lot of exciting properties. We've ventured into new spaces. So I can say what's open in 24 and what's coming up. The new ventures which are unique, we've gone into something very unique in 2024 called the Anantara Santorini Retreat.
Anantara Santorini.
That's why I had to mention it.
You connect your world with my world.
That's it. Okay. We've connected our worlds. Nice. And it's a very, very unique offering. It's actually between Dubai and Abu Dhabi.
Okay.
If you have the time, you should visit. It is literally mirrored. I call it sort of Santorini meets Mykonos. So you have the beaches of Mykonos and you have the architecture of Santorini, but in a very unique setting. 22 keys only. That's why we call it a retreat. A great success story, launched last year. So that's one that I would say that's very unique. We launched in the Emirate of Ras Al Khaimah as well, our first flagship property. With all the hype happening in Ras Al Khaimah, for us that was a key anchor with the Anantara coming. And it was really for us a mission of repositioning the entire Emirate of Ras Al Khaimah. Very successful opening and launch. A few other notable ones in Africa. We went into Johannesburg with our first NH in the center of Sandton, which has been another anchor property in July last year. And something else that's very unique is in the wildlife. So in Zimbabwe, in December last year, we launched our first Anantara retreat in a wildlife sanctuary, which has a very unique offering. We protect the black rhinos there. So we have the Big Five, we have a private game reserve, we protect black rhinos. So we look at the entire spectrum. When you talk about how our business has evolved, we started in building destinations off the beaten path in Sir Bani Yas, and now to make the circle round, the latest property we've opened was also a wildlife sanctuary in Zimbabwe looking after rhinos and conservation. Right. So it's a big part of our DNA. We take care of a lot of wildlife sanctuaries. So in Thailand, we have in Golden Triangle, we have the elephant sanctuary, we have the rhinos, we have in Cambodia. So we look after, when you talk sustainability, this is a spectrum that's very important for us. So we look after it from all aspects, be it from destination preservations, be it from animals, be it from habitat of humans. So the entire spectrum we look after.
Since you start mentioning about the sustainability policy you have, just elaborate a little bit more.
Yeah.
I want to understand how you support the community, the environment, but also how you save energy probably at your hotels or how you manage your...
But this is something, a lot of people, it's become a buzzword, everybody talks about it now.
Yes,
but for us, we were blessed because when we started our journey, our first brand that we launched was the Anantara brand, which was launched in 2001. And the whole purpose of the Anantara brand was evolved around what we call it indigenous sustainable luxury. Now there are very key words here. Indigenous, you cannot be sustainable if you don't go indigenous. That's the first thing I tell everybody. You can do a lot of things around your resource, but if you're importing everything, your carbon footprint is equally be the same. So the way we built the brand and the DNA of the brand was experiential. So it was all about the location you are, the local community is part of the business that you operate. It's all about making sure that from a design and development stage, no two Anantaras are the same. We don't have a cookie cutter approach. We look at the flora, fauna, and materials that is domestically available, and we build around that. To put an example, we opened in Jaipur in November last year, which was our first flagship and our first Anantara in India. Everything we looked at sourcing is domestic. You're blessed in the location. And I'm sorry to say, we went to a lot of other hotels, international renowned brands, but because of their brand standards, they look at everything, well, you have to import marble from Italy. You have to look at this from there. Rajasthan in India has some of the best marble available. You have some of the best, arts and crafts domestically, the artisans, flora, fauna, all is available. So we adapt our standards to every location we are. So that's the base of the journey we started, was that everything has to be indigenous and it has to be sustainable. The second piece of the pie is, we have applied into SBTi, so we're a science-based target. So our goals of 2050 net zero are now accredited by SBTi, meaning these are now science-based target indicators. We're part of Dow Jones Sustainability Index, and we're part of FTSE for Good. So we have a very clear matrix of recording our energy. We put a severe focus now on waste to landfill. Just in this region alone, we've had a 40% reduction in landfill, and straws over 80%. So what we look at now is plastic waste. Waste is a big part. Landfill reduction is very important. And if you go local and you source locally, then you reduce your carbon footprint in terms of importation of goods and services. And more importantly, in a lot of locations that we operate, which is for me very dear, I spend a lot of time in Africa as well. A lot of these locations, we are the driving force of the economy. We've invested heavily in our business as well. And in a place like Zambia, in Royal Livingston, we are the largest economy. We're the largest employer. We are the largest supplier. So if you think of it from that perspective, what tourism, as much as it can be negative, what the positive impacts you can create. So through that, we've done scholarships, we hire 94% local in those locations in Africa. And all of our goods and produce, we source it locally within Africa or within the country. That's for us is very important. So that's where I believe you can make an impact. To be sustainable, you need to work on the three parameters. Financially, it has to be viable. Because if you don't make it viable, you won't sustain long term.
Exactly, yes.
Going local, by default, you're gonna go sustainable. So that for us is very important. And second part is create a purpose. And our purpose has always been, we started our journey with what we call dollar for deeds. So we invested in making sure that whichever guest stays with us, they invest $1, we match it with another $1. And we work in every local community. We work with local foundations, be it schools, orphanages, animal sanctuaries, you name it, we work with them to support locally the communities that we're in.
Great.
And also we launched a university, AIHM, in collaboration with La Roche in Switzerland.
So you do your own training for your staff you hire?
There you go. Okay. And we not don't do the training, but we also offer scholarships for less fortunate as well. So we support a lot of communities as well to get educated and work and create a full circle. Because you don't want them just to work with you. You want them to have a career and expand their own vision as well. So we believe in education a lot. And that's an area we've invested heavily in as well.
So if there is not enough workforce in the area you are developing, you create your own, eh?
That's the goal. Absolutely.
That's good.
Absolutely.
Now, let's speak about branding a little bit. You mentioned that you use a lot of local elements to the new properties you create in a destination. Do you also bring some of the Thai experience in your brand, since it is a Thai company, or you try to be only local?
It's a unique one, because we can't deny the fact that it really comes from the heart. Hospitality in Thailand is truly from the heart, and I think the experience that you bring with that is very important to pass forward. But I think it's not about, we don't like infusing Thai hospitality in the locations we are, because that's not being genuine. I know some other brands like to infuse their DNA into it. Our DNA is that it's really from the heart. So if you keep it holistic, if you look at the broader picture, that ultimately hospitality is engagement between two individuals, is hyper-personalization between individuals, and then letting each hospitality in each location outshine by itself is more important than me coming and imposing the Thai hospitality. Obviously, our roots are Thai. We are very firm believers that Thailand has a very rich history in hospitality, in giving more than taking. And that we use, but we don't impose Thai hospitality in that sense, no.
Recently you presented this concept of master brand.
Absolutely.
What exactly is this? You'd like to tell us some information about that?
I mean, we've been blessed over time that we've built and acquired a number of brands. So we have 8 different brands in our portfolio, especially after the acquisition of NH, which we did in late 2018, which catapulted us now to over 560 hotels. With that, it scaled us to a level that we now believe that the 8 brands, whilst have their own identity, it was time to bring the Minor brand to a B2C audience. Historically, it was always a B2B brand. It was used in the back end of our business and as an umbrella brand, obviously, for the stock exchange. But we believe now is the time. We've reached a certain level of growth in terms of both our loyalty platform and our brands and the positioning of our brands, that we wanted to launch the Minor hotels as a B2C platform, where our booking engines, our apps, our loyalty, everything gets consolidated under the one Minor brand. So the umbrella becomes now a B2C brand.
How this affects the experience of the customer?
The beauty of it is now, let's say I'm traveling to different parts of the world. Let's say I'm going to Dubai. I press in Dubai, I immediately get all the brand offerings. I can use my loyalty. Well, before you had loyalty by brand, now loyalty across the umbrella.
All right.
So we have a beautiful program which are dollars, Discovery dollars. It's a 1-to-1 dollar to expense ratio. You can now use it across all brands. You can book across all brands. So the experience becomes seamless, and you now suddenly can maximize your journey from being in a resort in the Palm to be in the city hotel in Batuta, to be in downtown, to be in Santorini. So you can experience all of it under one umbrella. And that was really the goal of launching.
Great.
Yeah.
In every event I attend around the world, either conference or exhibition, there is a lot of discussions about technologies.
Absolutely.
New technologies, and especially AI.
Yes.
How you deal with the technologies that are here now. They are not just coming, they are here, like artificial intelligence.
Listen,
what do you do for this?
We're a firm believer. The last few years, we ourselves as a company have undergone a severe transformation. We call it our digital transformation journey of Minor. And I think we've used this because, again, we've acquired a number more assets and we've grown our portfolio. We've been blessed because if I had to go through the traditional sense of creating an overlay for all of these brands, it would have been a very complex scenario and it would have been very costly. But through the intervention of AI and cloud, we're now able to create an overlapping CRM, consolidate everything on top, and through AI, minimize a lot of the downtime in the back of service.
All right.
Front, I'm still not a believer, and I'm being very clear as well. I believe in the back, you can drive a lot of synergies. We use AI actively in our offices, be it everything from admin tasks, legal, data in particular when it comes to data mapping and understanding data, because that's been our problem in most of the industry, is an over surplus of data and not being able to analyze it well enough. And AI gives us the ability to really hone down to the consumer and understand, as part of hyper-personalization, what each consumer is looking for. But in the front of house, I'm not a believer. I believe the more you save in the back... No
robots in the check-in.
Absolutely. The more you can save on the back, the more you can invest in the front. And that's what we're doing.
Great. So what the future can bring for Minor?
I think the future is a very unique one. We have set a very clear target for the company. Now with the launch of our master brand, aligning all of our 8 brands under umbrella is hyper growth. So we've been through hyper personalization, experiential journeys. We've really set a very strong footprint into wellness and F&B. Again, we were one of the early starters and adopters of wellness. Now everybody is obviously talking about wellness and longevity. We launched our first Layan Life concept in Thailand, which is a fully integrated, holistic longevity hub.
Great.
Very unique. So that's going to be part of the future DNA. And of course, the F&B piece, which is big for us. So all of these components, and looking at how Minor has evolved. We look after boats, planes, trains, cars, you name it. We have it all, right? So we look at the entire spectrum. So with all of these recipes pulled into a pot under the Minor umbrella, we are now focusing on hyper growth. So that's my big target. And I can tell you, my target is over the next 3 years to double our footprint just in this region. So you can see the amount of pressure to grow the company. But I believe now we have all the ingredients is in place. We have the recipes set up correctly. And now it's just, running for it.
Very insightful. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.